Dover International Speedway in Delaware, a 1-mile canyon of concrete. Over the years, drivers in the Winston Cup Series have hiked in here hoping to climb to the championship. Most have failed to reach the top. But for a few, victory at Dover has been a big step to future success. Just 9 races remain, and the championship contenders want to make certain they don't lose their footing today at Dover. It is a sunny day, temperature in the mid-80s, a shirt-sleeves crowd, and the most important flag you're going to see here, not the checkered flag, but the American flag.
Ladies and gentlemen, the A-10 from the 103rd Fighter Wing of Connecticut Air National Guard. And now, I'd like to introduce you for the most famous words in all of auto racing, Vice President and Director of Motorsports here at Dover International, Mr. Melvin Joseph.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you for your patience and your celebration. And now for gentlemen, start your engine.
And now, while you look at the Walmart starting grid for today's race, let's talk to the guy starting on the outside of the front row.
Dale Jarrett, Benny Parsons, you got me?
I've got you, Benny.
DJ, a lot of drivers have talked about this new tire that Goodyear has brought this weekend and comparing to tires used 3 or 4 years ago. Is that your assessment?
Well, certainly the tire has a little bit more grip, and we already see a lot more rubber down on the racetrack than what we've seen here in the last few years. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. With the new setups we run, I think everything with the construction still being basically the same, just a softer compound, we're going to see a heck of a race here today.
Well, you won back in 1998. They're playing right into your hands, aren't they?
I hope so. That's what we're looking forward to anyway. Of course, the cars have changed. A lot has changed, but we still do think we know how to win here. So hopefully that'll happen today for this UPS team.
Happy with your car yesterday?
I was pretty happy in the first practice session with my car. We tried some things in the second session that weren't quite as good, so we went back to that and made a couple of slight adjustments. So I'm looking to have a good car in the long runs today.
Thanks, DJ. Good luck to you.
Good luck, Benny. Have a good day.
Dale Jarrett starting alongside Rusty Wallace on the front row, former winner here at Dover. Things to note about this starting grid as you look through it. Casey Atwood scheduled to start 20th. He's in a backup car after a crash yesterday in practice. He'll go to the back of the field. And most of the top 5 in the championship, all of the top 5 in the championship for that matter, going to start from 19th spot on back.
And there's your championship leader, Mark Martin, back in 32nd position.
And the final cars to qualify for the race on time, the Kevin and Kenny row. And then we go to provisional land. Michael Waltrip finished 8th place last week. Says he's got a pretty good car for today. See what kind of progress he's able to make through the pack.
And Ward Burton, the cab car, seems to me has been struggling all weekend. We'll see if they made any changes this morning, if it's any better.
Tim Sauter and Dave Marcus's car. Tony Raines in for his second Winston Cup start here at Dover. And Hideo Fukuyama from Suzuka City, Japan, starting last on the field in a Travis Carter entry. So we're getting set to go. 400 laps around this 1-mile racetrack make up the distance today. $3.9 million. The prize money available for the 43 drivers.
Pit window 90 to 100 laps. I don't think many cars are going to be able to squeeze 100 laps. If they could, then you're looking at a 3-stop race on the green flag. But most guys are going to be very close to that 90, I think, which means you're going to stop 4 times. And tires, Wally, they got tires stacked up from one end of pit road to the other.
Yeah. Race teams figured it's going to seem like the old days. Every time there's a chance, they'll be firing 4 tires at the race car. Pace cars off. 140,000 here at the Monster Mile, ready to see who will win this latest round in the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship. Rusty Wallace brings him to the green.
Boy, Dale got a terrible start.
Cloud of dust is at the backstretch crossover gate where vehicles go in and out of the speedway. Nothing to worry about there. That'll be gone after a couple of laps. And Rusty Wallace leads lap 1. Earnhardt Jr. is second. Greg Biffle is third. Dale Jarrett slots in fourth.
And Robbie Gordon was the guy that used that high groove down in turns 1 and 2. He was about 3 wide on the outside. And here comes Junior right on the back bumper of Rusty Wallace.
Beer battle. Lap 2, Junior to the inside of Rusty for the lead. The defending winner of this race, Dale Earnhardt Jr., started third last year just as he did today. A year ago, he led 193 laps on his way to victory lane.
I talked to Tony Urey Jr., the car chief on this Budweiser car, just before the Golden Benny Award, and he told me that Dale Jr. was very happy with the car, and they were optimistic about pulling off this second in a row, 2 Septembers in a row.
Kind of looks like things are bunched up from Greg Biffle on back there in third place. Looks like Dale Jarrett might be a little faster. Here's John Andretti under Jeremy Mayfield. That's in 10th place. Steve Park right behind him in the 1.
Still looks like everybody's a little bit better down on that bottom groove right now. Wow, Park got loose there. Looks like Elliott Sadler's going to take advantage of that.
On board with Elliott Sadler, this race sponsored by the Air Force because Dover Air Force Base nearby.
They call that the bomber paint scheme. There's one of the stealth bombers pictured on the hood of that car.
Jeff Green liked that high groove yesterday in the Busch Series race, and he's already up there. That's Jeff in the 30 car.
And usually on a place like this, you wait for somebody to get up there and clean that top groove off a little bit. It's going to take a little bit of time to get that track cleaned up over there. But looks like Jeff wanted to be the first guy up there.
Jeff Green in the 30, working to the outside of Steve Park in the 1 for 12th place. Jeremy Mayfield just ahead of them in the 19. He runs 11th.
Looks like it's coming in pretty quick up there.
Nothing happening up front. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Rusty Wallace still running 1 and 2. And Jeff Green still trying to use that rim riding technique to get a spot on Mayfield.
Well, you get in, and the guy that's on the bottom gets you to center a little bit better, but if you can run on the top, usually you carry a lot of momentum, and you're actually faster down the straightaway.
Shuffling it up for third.
That was third. Ryan Newman, the winner last week, takes the 12 Alltel car to third spot. Biffle is now back-to-back 5th or 6th, about to lose the spot to Kurt Busch. That's Biffle in 55, Busch in 97.
And Joe Nemechek just behind them in the 25.
Boy, Nemechek in the 25 car right behind these two was so happy with his car this morning. It's been a dismal year for Joe and these guys in the 25 car. They have struggled, but they got a new crew chief, a new car chief, and he was very optimistic this morning.
Peter Suspenzo taking over, leading that team as crew chief just with last week's race at New Hampshire. Peter worked with Jeremy Mayfield and Mike Wallace at Roger Penske's 12 car a year ago. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the leader. He took the lead at lap number 3. We're just underway at Dover. We're back at Dover, and we've just gone under the caution flag. Ward Burton and Jerry Nadeau have crashed down the front stretch towards turn 1.
You see him coming off the corner side by side. And Ward, I guess, doesn't realize that the 44 car is up there. He started to come up the racetrack.
Well, Nadeau got into the outside wall there, and I think he bounced off the wall into the path of the 22 car.
Oh, I didn't see that.
And man, it's so easy to do off of turn 4, because if you stand on the gas, that car just flies up against that wall coming out of 4.
Now pit road is closed, so no one has come in yet.
See, watch here. Yeah, he bounced off the wall. Definitely turned down into Ward.
An Allen June winner, Jimmy Johnson, will hit pit road in the 9th position. The car was tight on entry, great on the gas, but he needed some help with side bite. They're going to go down on air pressure on both rear tires today.
But loose in, tight in the middle, loose off the corner, down on air pressure, all 4 tires for Ryan. Bill.
Rusty Wallace in the 2, Earnhardt Jr. in the 8. Jr. is loose off tight in the middle of the car, sliding up the turn. Rusty Wallace, the race leader, starts off loose, then the car comes to him. No adjustments for Wallace. It's an air pressure adjustment for the 8 car. The 8 and 12 beat Rusty off pit road. Points leader Mark Martinville was a little bit tight, half pound out of the right front. Started 32nd, made some pretty good progress in that short run, up to 25th. Alan?
So it looked like everybody got through that set of pit stops with no one wrinkling the fenders like we talked about in the pre-race.
Well, they're awfully careful right now, but we'll see what happens later in the race.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is out first on the racetrack as we're under caution at Dover.
Well, Mark Martin gained a lot of positions on the track, Benny, because of a 2-tire stop. We didn't think we'd see that today, guys, did we? But Mark's team said the car's been great. The track position has been terrible, so we needed some. So we went for 2 tires.
Well, I think the reason we probably saw to get away with this time is to only have, what, 20-some laps on their tires. So
a perfect time to do it if you're going to gamble on it.
That was a good move.
Yeah, 23 laps since they changed them last, and not all those under the green.
Green flag, green flag.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. leads. Jimmy Johnson second. Mark Martin now third. Ricky Craven fourth. Dale Jarrett fifth. Rest of the top 10. Tony Stewart, Ricky Rudd, Bill Elliott, Jeff Green, and Kurt Busch. Rusty Wallace is 14th. Ryan Newman is 25th.
So Mark is getting a lot of pressure right now. Well, Craven blew by him on the high side.
And here comes Jarrett on the inside.
Yeah.
So for the first 4 or 5 laps on these newer tires, these other guys are going to be faster. The question is, how much ground does Mark give up until it evens out?
Yeah, that's right. That's what everyone talked about. The first few laps, they're much faster. After about 10 or 15 laps, the tires they used here in June might actually have been faster than these cars because they do continue to slow down and give up some speed.
Well, let's see. Bill Elliott by Mark for 7th. Here comes Jeff Green. Ooh, he's going to close the door on him. No. Kurt Busch, Jeremy Mayfield. Mark's a little wide.
And Jeremy's stuck behind the car of Mark right now. He's wanting to get down that little lane.
Elliott Sadler in the 21 to Mark's inside. You're on board with Elliott. Okay, for now, settled back in the 11th place. And here comes Jeff Burton on Jeremy Mayfield just behind Mark.
And that's the break that Mark Martin needed to let these guys get side by side, give him a little bit of break, get back on the bottom of the racetrack, and then in a few laps, hopefully those tires that he have will be equal to the other cars.
Rusty wanting to get through quickly. Hey, Bill, what's going on with Rusty?
Well, Wally obviously trying to fight his way back to the front after that last pit stop when he went over the front line in the pit stall, then had to back up. When these cars came down pit road for the first time today under caution, NASCAR warned the drivers not to drive through any pits to get into theirs. That means Rusty had to be careful not to drive through the 8 to get into his pit. On the second round of stops, Rusty was aware of that again, and that contributed to going over the line. A lot of times that's the best pit stall to have, but on a narrow pit road, it can be a handicap when you have to get around another stall. They had a great conversation on the radio. They talked about what happened. Then Bill Wilbur and his crew chief and Rusty gave a confidence talk to each other, saying we'll be up front when it matters at the end. We'll see.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I was just to say, Bill, complicating.
Oh, we got somebody sideways.
Top vote on Jeff Gordon heading for the inside wall. Wallace gets through.
But you can see
That's trouble.
considerable damage to the 24 car, DuPont car.
He stayed on the lead lap, if that matters.
I don't think that's going to matter.
Not going to matter a great deal because you can see that that's the angle that front end was going. It's supposed to be kind of like that.
And Gordon goes right to the garage.
Left rear tire is flat.
So that's the 5th place driver in the championship. Just 67 points from the lead starting the race, and he was back in that traffic we were talking about.
See John Andretti down on the bottom of Todd Bodine. I couldn't tell if there's any contact there or not.
Didn't look like it.
Well, I might disagree with you there.
See some damage to the rear of Andretti's car as well. I think Jeff Gordon got in the back of John Andretti's car. But we'll be able to see this a time or two again.
On board Todd's car.
Clear.
By that angle, I would say he got hit.
And I'd also say he wasn't clear.
Yeah.
If he did get hit, he certainly wasn't clear.
Keep digging.
And the 8 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr., the defending race winner, continues to lead here, having an outstanding day, leading 85 of the 100 laps so far. Now, Junior's car is getting better. Remember, we talked about how he didn't have a lot of grip in the center of the turns. Well, now he's got more grip thanks to an air pressure adjustment. But the most important item in that car right now might be that rear view mirror, because he knows the 20 of Tony Stewart is on its way, Matt.
Bill, he's coming fast. The balance, Tony said, was very good on his first stop. They adjusted with air pressure. No changes on his last stop. He restarted 6th, and now he's up in the 2nd position. Tony said on the radio, and I quote, "Yeehaw, let's rock and roll. This car is awesome, Dave." Ricky Craven not saying yeehaw. He says loose. I need grip. The crew encouraging him just to drive it on. They made adjustments last time, but they did not seem to help the car for Ricky Craven. Bill?
Dale Jarrett says he loves this racetrack, and so far today, running well. Started off tight, but they made an air pressure and track bar adjustment on the most recent pit stop. That's made the car better. So Dale Jarrett running well. Upstairs, let's check on the leaders, Alan.
Here comes Big Orange.
He's coming fast.
Tony Stewart is right there on Junior. They've started to lap some cars. They've lapped 4 or 5 cars, and in doing this, it allowed Tony Stewart to catch Dale Earnhardt Jr., but there's not much Junior can do about it.
Goodbye.
See ya.
New leader, car 20, Tony Stewart out in front. All right, let's keep going through the field. We'll go back to 5th place car, Ricky Rudd, Dave.
And if you can be simplistic, that's what kind of a day the 28 car is having. 2 stops, no changes each time, and radio back to Ricky, we're as good as anyone here. They're very confident right now in the 28 car. Matt?
Dave Jimmy Jackson is back to 6th from the 2nd position. He says the car still will not cut in the center of the corner, and it's hurting him getting in the gas up off the corner. He's trying to adjust his line a little bit. You can see how he's gone up almost another half a lane trying to get that car to turn, Dave.
Jeff Green is riding this car for all it's worth this year. This is the 8th time they've raced this chassis. It's the 3rd race in a row. It has 2 top 5 finishes for him. Right now, it's just a little bit tight. Bill?
Well, Rusty Wallace has had a great car on the racetrack. His problems have been in the pits. First time they couldn't get a tire on quick enough. The second time he drove over the line, had to back up, got an extra long stop, fell back to the middle of the field. Now Rusty marching forward up to 8th. The car that could have won but didn't win at Bristol. Matt?
Bill, after finishing 39th and 20th with new crew chief Paul Andrews, it seems like the 99 team is starting to come together. Currently in the 9th position. They haven't made a lot of adjustments all day. In fact, after their first stop when they made an air pressure adjustment, they haven't made any adjustments to the race car. Bill?
Kurt Busch has lost a couple of positions in the last few laps. His crew chief is Jimmy Fennig. This morning, Jimmy told me they were tight in both practice sessions, and they were still a little bit tight. So they tried to make an adjustment before they put the car on the grid. It helps early. but the 97 of Busch is just too tight. Alan.
Mark Martin just got by Kurt Busch, and how about this for a championship moment?
Sterling Marlin, the 40 car, is a lap down. Tony Stewart has just passed him. Sterling Marlin is in 33rd position.
He is struggling. I've been watching the last couple laps, BP. He cannot keep that race car low on the racetrack. He just slides all the way up the track.
And while he is falling back, Mark Martin, the man who took the championship lead from him a week ago, Marty, that two-tire stop appears to have settled in for him.
It's settled in very nicely, and he is not struggling. Fell back as far as 13th. He has now made his way back up to 10th, running laps as fast as the leaders. He was a little loose at the beginning of that run. They're going to add a pound to the left rear. Mark must love the change of seasons here in Delaware. He's won 3 times at Dover, all here in September. Bill?
Greg Biffle had a tough day yesterday in the Busch race. Today going a little bit better as he continues to substitute for the injured Bobby Hamilton. Car hasn't been that great. He thought maybe earlier in the race he had a gear or a gearing problem. That has not come to pass so far. So Biffle continues to run well here, Dave.
Elliott Sadler's crew are performing their duties today in military green Air Force flight suits. Maybe that's why, in addition to the fact that they picked up 5 spots on that last pit stop, put some air pressure in the right rear to fix the good in tight middle condition. Bill?
Bill Elliott's car was tight, so they made an air pressure in both front tires on their last stop, dropping one pound and the other 3/4 of a pound. It seems to have helped. It's turning better, and it is not as tight as it was. As for his teammate Jeremy Mayfield, once again he has Ray Evernham on top of the wagon on pit road. His car is just a little tight as well. They made a chassis adjustment on their last stop, currently 15th after Jeremy started 11th here this afternoon. Marty?
Bill, Riley Gordon's got a pretty good race car for a guy who's running in 16th. Same car that finished 8th here in June. A little bit tight right now. He thinks it may be this set of tires, however. They had a run of 4 top 10s in 5 races during June or July and August, but they have 5 straight out of the top 10 since then. Mike Skinner behind him is having an excellent run. A little bit tight. They are going to make a wedge adjustment when he comes down pit road. A little bit of concern earlier. The water temperature was up to 240. These guys could use a good run. They have not finished in the top 10 this entire season. Dave?
Matt Kenseth may wish he was back in the days of his Busch car where he won 2 races here, because this car is extremely loose. He said it's so loose, even though he passed Mike Skinner, that he can't even look at the gas pedal. I guess he looked at it long enough to get around the 4 car. Matt?
Johnny Vance is currently running in the 19th position. Earlier the car was tight. Now the car was a little loose in the last run. Right now, he's just riding. We've got caution.
Bobby Labonte has slowed down the front stretch, and I believe that is a plume of smoke that was trailing from his car when he went to the apron. Bad day, gotten even uglier for the 18 team.
All right, Marty, here comes Mark Martin to you.
And he's having a great run, BP. Those 2 tires held out pretty well. A little bit loose at the beginning of the run. They are going to add the pound to the left rear tire. They thought about a wedge adjustment, decided not to do it. Matt?
Tony Stewart stopped short to give himself an easy exit. Greg Zipadelli's crew said no. This track does tend to get tight. If the car starts going that way, let me know. No adjustments on the 20, Dave.
Ricky Craven's crew has already made the track bar adjustment. 4 tires, he's gone. Bill?
Junior stopped short in his pit. That gave Rusty space to get him around him. Junior's car is a little tight in the center and bounces the right rear tires. They just dropped the pit. An air pressure, 1 pound of air pressure in all 4 tires. Great stop, and he beat them all off pit road.
We may not have gotten any contact there, but it's getting closer. I'm telling you guys, there's a lot of close calls on pit lane.
Here's what you're talking about, Walt, is these guys race off pit road. And again, the speed limit is 35 miles per hour. They ever see Junior? Jarrett? Craven? Where's the leader? There's Tony. And Jeff Burton is in the game.
Yeah, they're having a great day. 99 cars moved up from 30th starting spot. You will see the field come by Jeff Gordon, who's just come out of the garage. He'll be on the apron of turn 1 when the field comes steaming past. Gordon is 55 laps down in 41st place.
And Bobby Labonte did take his Interstate Batteries car to the garage area. He did not pass the pit crew on pit road. He went straight to the garage, straight to jail.
Did not collect $200.
And did not collect $200. That's the key thing.
And they have just reported Bobby Watty's car done for the day. Dale Jarrett now as close to the front as he's been since the drop of the green flag, literally since the drop of the green flag. Remember, he kind of had a little tough start there when Earnhardt Jr. in that inside lane got away from him on the get-go. There up front, Bill.
Yeah, and Dale Jarrett having a solid run here. His car's been a little tight most of the day. Last time before he pitted, he told Todd Parrott it was tight in the center and off. And they made a track bar adjustment of one round. And Dale Jarrett trying to fight his way to the front of this field.
Talked with Dale for some time on Friday in the garage. He was very disappointed that they're not in the fight for this championship. He said, I'm thrilled for the fans because it's going to be a great one all the way down to Homestead. I'm just heartbroken that we're not in the middle of it. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has led 97 of the 125 laps so far today. Debris on the backstretch. And the yellow flag is out for the 5th time in this race, just shy of lap 150, and just after Ricky Craven took the lead away from Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Marty, 6 car coming to you.
And it's very good right now. The points leader is. He asked how's the chassis. He said it's just fine. Don't do a thing to it. 4 tires, no changes for Mark Martin. Dave?
Ricky Craven's loose race car, now very good. 4 tires, no changes for the 32. Bill?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. into his stall. That bag on the front of the grill was not affecting the temperature, but his car continues to bounce around the racetrack. That's really bothering him. They're going up 1 pound of air pressure in each tire. He didn't like this set of tires either, so he's hoping fresh tires will help him out. But a big parade of cars off pit road. Guys taking 2. Now Earnhardt Jr. trying to find his way out.
Dale Jarrett is off first. Ricky Craven, the previous leader, out second. Tony Stewart third. Jeff Burton fourth. And Rusty Wallace fifth. Junior's losing a lot of spots.
Sure is. There we see 1 spot he's lost. 2 spots. Actually, he was in 2nd spot. There was the leader. He lost a spot. Tony Stewart did very well coming down pit road that time. Oh, that's close. Burton.
Rusty and Junior losing a lot of track position on that stop. Big story on the championship today, Sterling Marlin not having a very good day at all. 33rd place, 1 lap down now, Matt, while Mark Martin runs in 10th.
Until New Hampshire, the color to have in the points was silver and red. Lee McCall, what is wrong with your race car?
Well, we started off the race real tight and, make quite a few adjustments on that first stop, and I actually got it on the free side. So we tightened it back up, and we're basically looking for some grip right there. So we'll keep working on this course like that, and hopefully by the end of the day we can get back on the lead lap and just get to the point possible. So we're not giving up yet.
Dale had 1 top 5, so his last top 5 here at Dover was in 1990. This is the car he grabbed the points lead with. Marty Neer hoping to get it back today.
Conversely, his championship rival Mark Martin is cruising around the racetrack. Just put Joe Nemechek another lap down. He's running in the 10th position, and Mark is pretty happy with the race car. The problem for Mark, his car is not very good at the beginning of a run. It's very good at the end of the run, so he gives up a lot of time, but he does make it up later on that run. Alan?
And Jeff Gordon, the other headline maker in the championship today, came into the race 5th in points, but was involved in a crash at lap 67, and he spent 56 laps in the garage getting repairs. He's back in 40th place.
Pretty strong move there by Jimmy Johnson.
That's the guy that's 3rd in the championship hunt. Just took over the 3rd position from Dale Jarrett.
they stand now.
Well, he was leading the last time with Jimmy Johnson. The 48 was leading the last time we saw that, so you can see just how quickly things change when points are this close.
Can you imagine if this goes down to Homestead like that, how much fun that day's going to be?
We can do that every lap.
Yeah.
Time it change.
How about the 48, Matt?
Well, Alan, he was explaining to his crew chief, Chad Canals, just how this racetrack has changed since the final practice session on Saturday. He said it's hard to explain. The car was perfect in happy hour, but now since the track has changed, we're really chasing this race car. It's been tight most of the day, and that's where he is right now. He's just a little stuck and still needs a little more help. They've had great pit stops. Right now, though, he's just trying to ride and bide his time, but they were joking around this morning. Remember we mentioned about how he had the sway bar in the spring, and they were trying to fake people out that they were going to change it? Well, maybe they might should have done that. Jimmy was joking around, but he is right now in the second position, trying to make a move. Remember, he won here in June with this race car.
The only thing changing there is his position on the racetrack, and it's going in a very positive direction. Johnson second, ahead of Tony Stewart, behind Ricky Craven, the leader at lap 180 here in Dover today. 140,000 NASCAR fans having a big old Sunday afternoon party. Running order has shuffled here at Dover just past halfway. Jimmy Johnson has now assumed the lead. He and Tony Stewart, along with Rusty Wallace and Dale Jarrett, shuffling Ricky Craven back to fifth in just a matter of a couple of laps.
And they're putting the 9 car, Bill Elliott, who finished second here in June, a lap down, or trying to.
He just put Dale Earnhardt Jr. a second lap down.
Wow, Junior must be really struggling.
Storylines we've been following throughout the day for you here at Dover. The championship contenders starting in the back.
Well, one guy that did bite was Jeff Gordon. Yep. Started in the back, was involved in the crash. Tires have not been a story. They have been pretty doggone good. They've stayed pretty consistent, and the groove, we've seen the cars be able to go high, but the fellows that seem to be leading are always around the bottom of the racetrack.
You know, back to that championship story, the one guy who started farthest back, who it hasn't affected, is Mark Martin. He's up to 4th place. So he got through it all. And Mark trying to solidify or pad his advantage on the championship standings as they run right now. Well, I guess Junior finally decided he had enough, huh, Bill?
Yeah, that's pretty much how it worked there. The car was just so loose when the second lap down, had to come in and get tires. Speculation, he might have had a tire going down, but he's got 4 tires and fuel, and he's on his way. Not the day they thought they were going to have. Outstanding run early, but the 8 car has faded.
And Bill, the problem with this, it's lap 300. He's going to have to stop again.
Just couldn't stay out there any longer. And if you were listening to the radio like I was listening, you'd understand that too.
Okay, I got you.
So we understand why we haven't had any of Junior's radio on the air in a little while. I think that's where we're going with that.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Tough day for the Budman. And he is now 4 laps down in 32nd place.
Just to give him a lot of credit, though, even when the handle goes away like that, he has been pretty calm most of the time. And just every now and then, Wally, as you know, when a driver loses the handle and you want your car to go better, sometimes if you yell at it, it helps.
Yeah, sometimes you have to use adjectives for anything. Anything with 4 letters in it usually works.
Jimmy Johnson having no trouble so far today here at Dover. He's got 98 laps to go in search of the 3rd victory of his rookie season on the Winston Cup Tour. Under caution at Dover, 3rd place, Rusty Wallace, now a lap down and in trouble. You can see why.
Right front tire's gone flat on the Miller Lite car, and he's made some contact with the wall. All the cars are in the pits, Marty.
Mark Martin is in. He said the car is very good. He said it's up to you whether you want to make an adjustment. Ben Leslie, his crew chief, said, I vote to leave it alone. 4 tires, no changes for the points leader, Matt.
Marty, a track bar adjustment for Jimmy Johnson and 4 tires
was tight on this set of tires. A chassis adjustment with wedge to try and loosen them up. The 88 and the 48 rather, drag race down pit road. Dave.
Matt Kentz's car was still tight. They talked for a full minute on the radio about what they want to do. They settled on a wedge adjustment in the left rear, and he's out.
Down to just 10 on the lead lap. It was close between Jarrett and Johnson.
Oh, it was very, very close. There comes Jimmy Johnson, and there's Jarrett, just one fender behind.
So Jimmy Johnson's team holds serve on the set of pit stops, and we'll check out how Rusty Wallace brought out the caution flag. Turn 1. Watch that right front fender there. When rubber meets concrete, it's not a good thing. Yellow's out here in Dover. Nine cars on the lead lap. Green flag. 71 laps to go. By the way, after his problems, Rusty Wallace is back in 16th place, one lap down. Made a couple of pit stops for repairs under that caution. Whoa, contact there.
Yeah, Robbie Gordon, I don't know what happened. He just kind of slid up the racetrack there and moved his way back down and
got body slammed.
Yeah.
Looks like
he's got a tire going down. Yeah. Right rear going flat, BP.
Looks that way. We see some smoke coming off his car. I don't know if that's where someone has knocked the fender in on the tire or something, but
look at the left rear.
Yeah, left rear's rubbing the sheet metal, looks like, doesn't it?
Robbie Gordon, 11th place, one lap down. And that was Robbie's radio.
Well, he looks like he's hanging on.
Well, maybe that started a little bit back before we saw it there.
Looks like he has some damage to the left front fender on the car.
Yeah, he does.
Lead lap cars mixed in and among all this. Matt Kenseth in the 17, Craven in the 32, Newman in the 12.
Marty, what's going on with Robbie?
Well, I don't know what this situation is. The left front fender damage we talked about earlier. He got that early in the race. He said nothing on the radio except to place blame for what happened to him on Kurt Busch's shoulders. But other than that, he said nothing about the car.
Well, see, he just went flying up the racetrack there and nobody was near him. He's got something wrong there.
All right, let's check it out. What happened up in turns 3 and 4 a minute ago?
Yeah, you see Robbie there on the high side. Right, now he just lost it. Kurt Busch wasn't anywhere near him.
And while he was trying to get the car back under control, Kurt Busch did go by and made some contact with him, but he had already gotten the car loose and had slowed down dramatically.
While Jimmy Johnson holds a solid lead up front, I just feel the intensity picking up here a little bit.
Oh, it always does here. This is where everybody's, pretty much out of patience, and, this is where every position counts right now. So.
Check out the silver car, Sterling Marlin, championship leader, going into the race in New Hampshire a week ago. Lost that lead, Mark Martin. He has struggled all day today. He's 2 laps down in 19th place. Today here at Dover, NASCAR-wise, whether or not Jimmy Johnson will pick up his 3rd win of the season, and what will the championship standings look like at the end of the day? New 2nd place runner, speaking of championship, how about championship leader, Mark Martin?
Yes, sir, and coming from a long way back to get there.
Here is the pass.
It's on the inside of Dale Jarrett in the backstretch. Jarrett is searching out, trying to get that high line to work for him. He goes up high. Mark keeps that Viagra car on the bottom, goes by him, and that's it. See you later, DJ.
And he's put about 7-8 car lengths on Jarrett since. And BP, we've been kind of keeping an eye on his lap times versus Jimmy Johnson's. Kind of swings back and forth.
Yeah, he'll run a lap a little bit quicker than Jimmy, and then Jimmy will run a little bit quicker than Mark. So right now it's a standoff. Marty?
What we talked about earlier, BP, is coming true on the racetrack now. Mark's not very good on new tires, but on these old tires, this car really comes to life. We need to give an attaboy to his crew chief, Ben Leslie, for the 2-tire stop earlier in the day. Mark came down pit road, was the only one brave enough to put on 2 tires. They did it. It gained him a lot of track position, but more importantly, got him out of the back of the pack. Jeff Gordon was running with Mark on the track before that. When the caution came out, Gordon took a 4 tire, restarted 19th. 10 laps later, he got into a wreck with Todd Bodine. That's the same pack Mark Martin was running with. Now, did that 2-tire stop get Mark out of that wreck? We'll never know, but it certainly didn't hurt to have him up front, because again, that was the same pack he was running with, and 2 of them got into a wreck.
Race for the lead. Mark Martin has caught Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson is in traffic trying to get by these lap cars. That's Tony Reyes there in the 74 car. And I don't know if it's that what allowed Mark to get right on his rear bumper, or if Mark right now is just faster.
Well, like we said earlier, they've kind of been seesawing back and forth. One guy be a tenth, a second faster than the other guy. Every other lap they'd switch. But Mark did make up a lot of ground in traffic on Jimmy Johnson all at once.
Now he lost some there. See that big wiggle off at turn 4?
Jimmy Johnson ran across the 55 car Biffle, and Greg is running the out high line, so he dove to the inside, but every time he came off the corners, Jimmy and Biffle ended up about the same spot. He did not use the entire racetrack, and we talked about it earlier in the show, how much you really need all the racetrack to make top speed around here.
Speed's at the line. Mark's a little bit quicker that lap.
And guess what? We're down to 10 laps to go.
Let's check Johnson's speed against Mark Martin's here as they come to 9 to go.
A little bit, not much, but a little bit.
It was close enough that it's going to be very hard to pass Jimmy if he gets there.
Exactly. A little bit of traffic ahead. They're closing in on about a half a dozen cars that are just ahead of them.
And that he does not want to see.
No, look at all those cars. And some of them side by side.
Now, those guys racing for position. That's the question.
Sterling Marlin is 21st.
Schrader in there? I don't see Schrader.
No.
He just passed Schrader a few laps ago.
Okay, so
farthest guys ahead of them, Ricky Rudd and Rusty Wallace are racing for 14th and 15th, and that's about 3 cars ahead of where Johnson is right now. So we'll see.
Rusty Wallace and Ricky Rudd, is that who you said?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Remember back to June?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I wonder if they're going back in their logbook.
And here we see this is exactly what he didn't want to see. 2 cars in front of him trying to make a pass. Sterling trying to get by Mike Wallace, and Jimmy's got to try to get by both of them.
7, now 6 laps to go.
This is your chance, pal.
Oh, there he is. He's hung behind the 40 car. Now try to go to the outside.
This is your chance, pal. That was Mark Martin's radio.
And there he is, closing in. This is exactly what Jimmy Johnson did not need. And
5 laps to go.
5 to go. It's all you, work your magic.
Sterling gives way. But Mark is just a 2-car length deficit. Now make it 1.
Oh, and Sterling was in that spot Mark needed, BP, like we've talked about. You got to use all the racetrack. Sterling was there. Mark couldn't drift up to the wall, and it cost him.
And you can see how much distance it cost Mark Martin not being able to, and once again, not being able to bring that car out to the wall. Just kills your lap speed around here.
That's all Jimmy needed right there.
And it's both of these guys that Sterling's racing for the championship, so he didn't have anything to gain by being in one's way over the other. How do you catch him? Where do you catch him? Family here looking on. Jimmy Johnson's mom.
His mom would watch him race. My mom never watched me race. No, mine made her nervous.
She is standing behind the pit box, isn't she? Pat?
Remember when Jimmy Johnson won his first race in California, his parents were not there, just his brother. When he won here in June, his dad was here because he drives his motor coach to remain close to Jimmy, but his mom, Kathy, wasn't. This could be her first chance to go to victory lane with her son.
He'll come to the white flag next time, will Jimmy Johnson. He got his first Winston Cup win in his 13th start at California back at the end of April. Picked up his second here in June at Dover. He's trying to score a sweep at the Monster Mile and boost his chances of perhaps winning the Winston Cup title in his rookie year. Final lap, and there's traffic ahead for Johnson.
He gets by Ricky Craven, okay. I think these cars in front of him, Kyle Petty, are fast enough that Mark will not be able to catch him.
Yeah, it was that side-by-side stuff that was going to get him in trouble.
His 27th birthday was this past Tuesday. There'll be a lot of candles to blow out in victory lane at Dover. Jimmy Johnson sweeps the Monster Mile this season. A great day in the...
Way to go, boys! We're back on track. Awesome stuff all day long.
A great day in the championship for Johnson. A great day for Mark Martin also. Tony Stewart did well. Jeff Gordon and Sterling Marlin, not as good. Check how they ran today here at the Monster Mile. Jimmy Johnson, third win of the season.
8 cars in the lead lap. Ryan Newman would be the last car. Ricky Craven, the first car lap down. He lost that lap just about the time the checkered flag waved.
Dave Blaney, 11th place run today. Pretty solid for him. Rusty Wallace got trapped by that flat tire late.
And Kyle Petty, the best run for the Dodge today in 16th.
Sterling Marlin just never had it all day. A struggle.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. showed so much speed earlier on, will finish 24th, 4 laps down.
Jeff Gordon, 37th, involved in the crash. Back at lap 67, spent those 56 laps behind the wall getting fixed. Came back out, but lost some ground today in the championship. And the first driver's out. Jerry Nadeau, Ward Burton, involved in the first crash of the day back at lap number 27. To the winner's circle, and Bill Weber.
And Jimmy Johnson is here fresh from his burnout with an excited crew back in victory lane at Dover for the second time this season. At the beginning of the day, we talked about all the pieces of the puzzle to this Winston Cup championship. This by far has been one of the biggest surprises. Congratulations, you swept Dover.
This is so cool. Obviously got a great team, the Lowe's team, Hendrick Motorsports, everything from the engine department, bodies, chassis, everything's where it needs to be, and I'm just glad to be back on track. This is going to do great things for the points battle. And right over here, these guys right here won this race. They got me out of the pits first. We're all pretty equal there at the end, but it was a pit stop to count them.
How about the 6 car coming behind you, Jimmy?
Lost some breath here. We were also equal. It just was track position, and I got caught up in some traffic, and he'd get to me, and then I could stretch it back out, and we were clean sailing from there.
Obviously, you picked up some points. You're second now in the Winston Cup standings.
That's awesome. We got 8 to go. Mom's here. Yes. Mom says.
Another family reunion for the second straight week in victory lane.
Well, Mom hasn't been to victory lane yet, so this is her first time in the ceremonies, and got Dad. Wish my 2 brothers were here. I know they're going crazy at home.
So the championship standings now with 8 races to go in the season. Still a good one. 81 points to 4th.
And that Sterling Marlin, who was second going into this race, has fallen back to 4th. And we see Jeff Gordon there in 5th, just 190, and Rusty Wallace 198.
So Gordon and Wallace losing some ground today.